Alright, hello and welcome back to Ashgabat Cat's Let's Play That. Today we're taking a look at Action Fighter, which does really seem to live up to the name, because we've got at least 3 different types of vehicles we can control. Oh my gosh, this is incredibly loud. I mean, that's even better for the tense introduction, but in terms of actual gameplay, it's maybe not so loud. Alright, let's see. So we accelerate by pressing up, which is not my favorite way of accelerating, but I will begrudgingly accept it. Oh, G. What? Oh, G for gas? Well, that seems reasonable. The game controls fairly tightly. I mean, again, this is following the footsteps of Rally Bike, Action Car, Rad Racer? I'm not entirely sure about that one, but you've got a top-down racing game. Of course, it's showing off the motorcycle now. That just leaves the promise of other vehicles later. Okay, good. So there is sort of continuing at least between lives. And, okay, B button, C button, nope. It's just to focus on one show. Alright. You know, I thought we'd at least have to play a few levels before we could get to the next machine, but man, does Sega know how to make an exciting game. Oh, wow. There's even shades of Xevious, because you saw there were, like, land-based targets. Speaking of land-based targets, how does one hit them? I'm in a helicopter, I'm shooting missiles. Typically, you can't go from land to air or air to land. Well, you can't go from air to land with the same thing you use to shoot air to air, at any rate. Is there a continue function? Continue play? No way. No way. They can't be serious. Well, I'll be darned. This game looked pretty old. Of course, maybe it's only early 90s, so that's actually not so old in the grand scheme of things. But already, there's a continue function. I believe this is made by Sega. They are just consistently pushing the boundaries of what is possible in an arcade game. They are bringing the future to the land of yesteryear. Anyway, you can continue. And so that means we're probably going to get to see the end of the game. Unless I get bored first. Interesting. I mean, I might be imagining things, but it does feel like the sand, slows you down. Anyway, you just pretty much hold up the entire time, which slightly compromises your ability to turn left and right, but not in such a drastic way. We ran out of fuel. Oh, okay. Back to the bike. Oh, that's awesome. So on the left, there's like a huge map of where we can go. It's got different branching paths. So I thought for a second that I ran out of fuel, and I thought we were gonna get a crashing cutscene, but nope. Things worked out. So you've got to control your speed. So I just slowed down there, and then the enemy exploded. That's right. I'm so good at video games, I don't even have to shoot the enemies to kill them. I just... Okay, well. Anyway, back to the game. And, we're just cruising. Yikes. Okay, wow. I'm undecided on this difficulty. It doesn't entirely feel fair, but at the same time, it's being fair enough. And it's yeah, I kind of get that you're not expected to, it's not a reasonable expectation to be able to one-credit clear this game, but at the same time, I feel like it is at least humanly possible. I mean, there are some games in the world that I don't think anyone could one-credit clear. CF any quiz game ever, you'd have to be, I mean, pretty sure if you could one-credit clear a quiz game, you might as well just go on Who Wants to Be the Next Millionaire. Or heck, you could even go on Survivor if you feel like something. I mean, you might not necessarily win that, but... Yeah, let's see. So G, the power-ups, they don't really seem to do anything. I mean, there's gas, which might do something. Oh, So that might be jipping us on the length of these stages. So if we look at where we were on the map, it seems like we are a bit more north than where we would expect the next level to start. So maybe they're not promising us quite an entire map filled with hardcore, intense, nail-biting action. They are instead only promising us 3/4 of an entire map of hard, nail-biting action adventure. Which is a compromise that I'm willing to take. Okay, remember when I said this game was fair? I am considering amending my statements. Again, a lot of the difficulty coming from, it's hard to adjust your speed. So again, I'm on an arcade stick. It's pretty much click, click, click. It's like you press a direction, you're going in that direction. There's no halfway up, there's no quarter up. It's just up, down, left, right. Down, left, down, right, whatever. So again, it's maybe not the best for playing Pac-Man, but you can go in any... Okay. I was not expecting that. So we unlocked this map, but not the other one. So I wonder if that is some sort of subtle commentary by the game that it's like, hey, you aren't good enough to deserve to know what that map is. I mean, obviously, you should know what it is. You went through it, but we're not going to give you the dignity of even revealing it to you in map form. Wow. There has to be some sort of analog speed control to this game. Either that or it's just really hard to maintain your speed, especially with that dune buggy. It is entirely engaging, make no mistake. I would devote like an entire day to just getting those salams right, but man, is that going to be one heck of a day. Also, there is some heavy course memorization as you have to remember which ways are safe. Because as you saw, like that entire left path was just filled with rocks. There's just no getting over that. Unless there's a secret jump button. Nope, no secret buttons. This game is actually surprisingly light on buttons you can actually press. I also can't help but feel that it's kind of slowly pushing us forward as we go. But it is an interesting game. Like, you put in your extra credit, it lets you continue, but there's no checkpoints or anything to like hold you back. It pretty much just kind of pushes you ahead. It's like, hey, there's a whole game to experience, so we can't spend too much time on any one thing, so we're just going to keep pushing you forward. And I mean, I feel like in a sense that kind of robs the game of like its sort of difficulty and its sort of arc and its sort of story it's telling. And of course I'm saying all this, I'm stuck in this one little part. It wasn't doing this prior till now. But sometimes struggling can really lead to like coming up with personalities for certain parts. I mean, it's kind of strange to say. It's like usually you're telling a story and it's like a character's personality is given by their actions. But you can also tell a story from like a game's gameplay. It's like, okay, this part was hard, and so I had to really devote some time to get through it. And then when I did, it was great. Then the next section was easy, and you can sort of tell a story like that, just purely through gameplay. And I feel like that continue. Well, okay, if it hadn't worked the way that it did, it would have really robbed it of being able to tell that story. But as we saw, it's like, nope, we are going to forever remember the part when we were stuck on a wood bridge with the pink car. The pink van driving up behind us. This part is maybe not so annoying. Man, honestly, I should really slow down a whole lot. Ooh, you can choose your path. So it's kind of like Outrun, but with guns. Or maybe certain vehicles don't do maps. That doesn't entirely make sense, though. Still haven't set a high score yet. So anyway, yeah, maybe I should really slow down, because I mean, fuel has never really been an issue, and I think it actually, yeah, it refills your fuel every time, so it's like, okay, if I was trying to one credit clear, okay, fine, maybe I have to manage my fuel, but honestly, if I go slow, then the only thing that'll kill me is the eventual attrition. Although, that is so weird that, like, those helicopters just help you so much. They look like such an enemy. And like every other car on the road is just out there to kill you. But those helicopters, they're just like, yeah, have some G's, man. It's probably gas. It's probably not money, but who knows? It could be anything. Maybe it's money to buy gas with. Did you ever think of that? Huh. So we are halfway down on the fuel gauge, and we are about not quite halfway through the stage. Do you think we're gonna make it? Well, low fuel already. But that's okay, because it has the continue function. Oh, that's cool. So, like, not only is there a representation of the route you're going to take, it's actually detailed enough that you can actually see, and you can kind of vaguely correspond what you're seeing to what you're seeing on screen. Oh, wow. So, like, the path itself does not branch, but what vehicle you are using does branch. And that is an interesting approach to replayability. I feel like it's maybe inferior as to having like certain spots that are just for bike and certain spots that are just for car, but at the same time, I'm kind of willing to say that like there's not that much difference really between the bike and the car. I mean, I think the car actually handles a little bit better, but they are essentially the same. I mean, this game is trying to like be all cool and coy, and it's like, oh, check out all these different vehicles and different possible gameplay experiences, but honestly, the only thing that changes is the terrain that scrolls underneath, and if you're on a land vehicle, the sprite you're using to move. In fact, if I was to be so cynical, that when it initially shows a flash shot of your vehicle, I'm pretty sure that's there to remind you that you are in fact in one of the 3 possible vehicles, that you're not just like, oh, I've just been in the bike this whole time, sometimes it flies, sometimes it doesn't. I guess, oh, actually, I wonder how this ties into Spy Hunter. I mean, obviously, different company, it's not Spy Hunter 3 or anything like that, but I wonder if they were inspired by Spy Hunter. They're like, oh man, the concept of changing Huh. So, is it me or did the game repeat? Like, I was so busy having fun crashing and bashing my whole way through that I didn't even notice that the game had started to repeat. So what is the deal? Do you have to unlock certain sections of the map in order to, like, have them fully count as cleared? Is there, like, some sort of secret intel we are supposed to be, like, stealing as we go along? Or maybe if we use too many continues, is that considered too bad of a detriment? And also, where did the map go when we're in the helicopter? This is a game that occasionally raises more questions than it could ever be hoped to answer. Can we shoot down the power-up helicopter? No, we cannot, which is frankly very good because there's a lot of stuff to be shooting. Oh, interesting. So the helicopter cannot actually change its angle of attack. It can only shoot straight up, which lets you be overwhelmed twice as quickly by everything else. At least the bike, for all its possible issues, it does actually let you tilt the bike and shoot diagonally, so you can shoot all cars coming at you. Of course, that also means it's essentially impossible to shoot any car in front of you, which I feel like is actually maybe the better option. Okay, so what is the deal? Are there, like, secret paths that we have to fight through? Or maybe it's like, oh, you only unlock the map if you drive the car through this section. Okay, yeah, no map. We're just coming in blind, I guess. Also, how did I make that car explode that one time? Like, I honestly don't understand. Was there some sort of invisible enemy or something? They just kind of overtook me and then died. Okay, so I thought having a continue function would make this game easier to understand, but, well, it's easier to experience more of the game. Also easier to liberate my pockets of that horrendous weight, but it seems very baffling. It's like, what exactly are we accomplishing here? Where are we going? Oh, I think I know the difference between the car and the bike, maybe? The bike actually lets you go, like, shoot diagonally, whereas the car is front-facing the entire time. Also, are we supposed to rescue all the people? Is that... Maybe we're supposed to cause, like, enough destruction in each map, and then... Or maybe there are people hidden in certain spots, and we have to collect them all? And if we don't, then it just kind of wraps around? I was actually saying a while ago, there aren't that many games that, like, you get to the end of one stage, and then it just kind of loops you around. Like, there are games like... Well, I want to say Pac-Man, but I don't think it's necessarily Pac-Man. Where, like, they kind of send you back to, like, a starting stage. Like, there are only 5 or so stages, and it goes in a loop. But it's not quite... It doesn't feel quite as slipshod as that. It's more like the whole world itself is on some sort of finite loop. And it's like, okay, there's only so much space to explore, and when we get to here, then we loop back to there. Oh yeah, the road buggy. This is my favorite land vehicle. Can the road buggy even shoot stuff? It can. In fact, it doesn't shoot diagonal. Pretty much the road buggy is the same as the car. It's just the road buggy is symbolic of difficult terrain that you have to cross, whereas the car is like... I mean, it's long highways and fun times. Nice turns, but... Sometimes... Oh, this place. I hate that place. Wait, do you actually die if you go over grass? Oh no, you do in fact die if you go over grass. I guess that's not grass so much as just trees? But still, I mean, I feel like you should be able to ride over something, drive over something. When you ever play Cruisin' USA, it's like you can... My favorite stage in Cruisin' USA is the California Redwood stage, Because you get all these California redwoods showing up on the side, but it's Cruising USA, you can drive over whatever you want. So some of those redwoods you can actually just run over and flatten, and it's like, these are like 100-year-old trees, 200-year-old trees. It's like, you can't flatten them in anything less than a tank. But here you are in this arcade game, where you're just flattening them with nary a care. That is always kind of fun. Okay. Maybe it's... So it shows me warnings of something. I'm not entirely sure what it's trying to warn me about. Is it just telling me that there's an obstacle coming up, or is it telling me that I have to do a certain action to actually make things work out? Also, looking at the dots... No, I don't understand what the dots mean. Good gosh. I mean, the game is called Action Stuff, and I never expected it to be an intellectual challenge to figure out just what it is, in fact, we are supposed to be doing here. Okay, you know what? I say, when we die next, we just head back to the intro screen, and we just, like, take a look and figure out what it is this game is all about. Because I've been playing this for 5 minutes, and I cannot quite tell you what it is all about. I can tell you what it's mostly about: action, fun, win 3 vehicles or more. But in terms of, like, actually how do you win, what is the scoring, what separates a good player from a bad player, I can't quite tell you that. Low fuel. Or maybe we'll finally get to know what happens if you run out of fuel. Although I'm betting you just explode like anything. Okay, maybe it's the flashing dots that are the key. Fuel out. And then, do we respawn from there, or is it just... No? Oh, weird. So this is so far in the early days of continue functions that you cannot even press the face buttons and have the continue function count down faster. You just have to wait patiently for it to count down. I see. So it knows we inputted a credit. It knows we're interested. So we have to back off a little and let it know that we are in fact not interested. We just want to watch the intro sequence. Well, those are all my favorite vehicles. Oh, and a jet ski. We did not even get to experience the jet ski. I wonder if that's the hidden secret. It's like you cannot move past the game until you've experienced all 5 vehicles. 3 of which are basically the same. Yeah, no, I'm watching this sequence and I don't know what it is you're supposed to do. I believe the trick is in covering the map. But how do you do that? And why does the map disappear when you're in the helicopter? That is a baffling game. Oh, so you can drop bombs or something. Yeah, because there are, like, different things at the bottom of the screen that make it seem like you have alternate shots, but I tried pressing other buttons, and I don't think that did it, so... I guess, just like Transformers, there's more to this game than meets the eye. Unfortunately, unlike Transformers... Oh, the road buggy can jump. Well, suffice to say, that changes things. Okay, how are they doing all of these special things? Like, I'm actually a little bit peeved. It's like, really? There's no second shot? How am I supposed to... anything? Sure you can? How are you gonna... This doesn't make any sense. It must be buttons I don't have mapped? Or maybe you need to earn the power-ups before you can earn the power of whatever it is. Oh no! Okay. Interesting. So I can shoot missiles instead of regular shots. And I can shoot missiles and regular shots. Where did that come from, and what does it do? That's interesting. So we're gonna hit this flying point. Okay, so it doesn't continue on where we were. Huh. So maybe the buggy can jump and you just press the second button. But again, we're just going to be stuck in this eternal loop. I don't know. I feel like this is one more for Wikipedia to let it tell us how to play the game, rather than our good old friend brute force, and luck that sometimes you occasionally stumble upon the right thing to do. So when that timer runs out, this cat's gotta escape.